Right, we're back and we've got the wing joint glued, and I have to say it's actually really rather nice. Just a little bit of, holding up just to make sure you're happy with the alignment. Let the glue set up, it bites, it secures, and it gets to strengthen the joint. Quite impressed. So what we're doing now is we're going to do the cowlings, and what I'm doing is just get my file just to make sure there are no high spots for when we glued it together initially. And it's just these little bits of preparation that can actually make the difference between a nice build and a tricky build. Happy that that's all done. We'll offer up this part again. Really, as I said, I'm really impressed with the fit of this. It's really rather nice. Well, we know all the panels fit around it, so holding it in the middle, keeping your fingers away from where we're going to offer the glue in, and we'll just glue this joint up. And gentle nudge back, and that's going to grip pretty quickly. And the fit on the front is sublime. It's really, really good. There's no overshot or anything. It's just a nice, neat fit. So again, we'll just wick in some glue into this joint. Press and hold. Just blow to get rid of any excess. For something I was a bit worried about how well all these panels were going to fit. Really impressed. Board has got this bit right. There we go, say goodbye to the engine. And that fit is in. Look at that. Happy days. That's really, really rather nice. Really, really nice. Well done, boarder. So for all the fact that you've got really crap instructions, and they are, because they're missing so many steps, the actual fit of the parts is making up for it. It's making me enjoy this build. We're not going to have to do any filling or sanding on this side anyway. Just run the glue in along the joints and seal it up. Right, move over to the other side. Last look at the engine, and we'll get that panel in. Hold with breath, just to make sure it fits. Don't know which side to put in first actually. We'll put it in the bottom first maybe. It's a testament to all my good words for border. Is the last panel going to fit, or is it not? Well, I'm confident it is. There we go, click. Perfect, and it's in. Right, check alignment. All the other panels. Let's get the glue in before I move it and mess it up anymore. So extra thin, wick it around all the joints. My bottle is running out a little bit. There we go. Get that in the joints. On the front there, on the back. Just give it a blow to dry off any excess. Right, make sure it's all seated nicely. Seated nicely at the top. Happy with the front. Happy with the side. Generally very happy. There we go, there's the nose together. And yeah, that is excellent. Really, really nice. Don't think we're going to need to do any filling around here whatsoever. It's all gone in beautifully. So well done, boarder. We'll just quickly try on the spinner back, and then that'll give us an idea of alignment And that fits beautifully. So we're starting to get a Spitfire, guys. And we're getting very, very close to final cleanup and paint, which is excellent. Love it when a model goes together quickly. Right. Here, the next job to do is the horizontal stabilizers. And here's where Borders made an put two cheeks together and made an arse of it. Is on the lower side of the horizontal stabilizers, got some beautiful riveting detail, and on the upper side we've got ribbing detail, which is completely wrong. It should be riveting detail. So what do we do? Well, if you wanted to sand this off and rivet it, it would be easy to do. I committed to building this kit out of the box, warts and all, so I am actually just going to build this kit out of the box, warts and all. If I was to buy and build it again, I would actually take the time to correct this. However, I am just building the kit. So, I want to check to make sure there's no obstructions to a good fit. So just with a metal file, we're just coming in here, cleaning up any edges, burring, whatever else there might be. And the greater the test fits you do, the better chance you have of getting a good joint, and the less filling and such you're needing. Now, all in all, that's not too bad. I think we're going to need a little bit of a swipe of filler, but I think, you know, we're not going to be doing too bad. Now, in an aid to get this in and help us to set up the alignment, I'm going to put a drop of super glue here, just here on that tab on both sides, and we'll put them in and align them, and when we're happy with the alignment, we can actually then come in and we can glue it with extra thin. Right, I have got brand new super glue because my old super glue just died a death, and we're not needing huge amounts. We're only needing a small amount to get that initial grip and alignment, and when we're happy with the alignment, then we are going to come in with the extra thin and glue it all up properly. So with my applicator, I'm just smearing a thin layer of glue on that part, and just a thin layer. If you put a big layer, it's going to take ages to cure up. And we're going to pop it in, get it centered, and then hold it home. It should grip pretty quick. What we want to do is just eyeball that 90 degrees to the rudder. That's what I thought. Put too much glue on and it's taken a moment to set up. So eyeball the 90 degrees to the rudder so we're in the ballpark of where it's supposed to be, and wait for the glue to dry. Which hopefully won't be too long now. No, there we go. It's starting to cure up. Whilst it's still a little bit malleable, I want to just check the alignment. I don't think there was much of a dihedral on the tail. There might have been a little bit. I'm no expert on a Spitfire, so I'm not going to claim to be. Right, we get the other side in. And I have to say, 35th scale, that's a really nice scale to work on. Really is. It's just that little bit bigger than 48th, but it's not 32nd, and it's taken up the whole bench. It's just a nice handful of a model. Right, second one's in. Hold it in place, wait for that super glue to grip. There we go, it's gripped. And then we're checking to see that we've got everything equally aligned. Check from loads of different angles. There is a small dihedral on the tail, which is maybe right, I don't know. Possibly is. It seems to want to naturally sit like that. That's not bad. For a first go, that's not bad. One's slightly higher as the other, but it's not much in it. Oh, there we go. Let's just knock that one off and glue that one back in. Like I said, it is only a thin layer of super glue, so it's not going to hold lots. It is just there to hold the general dimensions until we get the extra thin in and it sets it up properly. Probably not very boring and not very interesting for you guys to watch, but this is how I do it. Right, how we're looking. That looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Got that pretty even. Right, when we're happy with that, in with the extra thin. Again, this will fuse everything together. So a generous coating of extra thin. You will, once the extra thin has had a chance to do its magic on the plastic, you will have a little bit of movement time if you need to come back in here and adjust any dimensional angles or anything like that. It's not wipe and go and that's used stuff. You do have a little bit of working time with this glue. But the beauty of using a little bit of super glue to get the initial alignment sorted is that you don't have to hold pieces for hours and hours and hours. They're already aligned and the extra thin comes in, melts the plastics, sets up, and there you go. You've got everything bang to rights. I think that's pretty good. I think that's pretty even. And there we go, we have a Spitfire. Look at that. Did not take long at all. Yeah, really impressed. Really, really impressed. For all the faults of this kit, I'm really impressed with how this has gone together. The way the joints have all gone together. The way the plastic's been reacting to the glue. Yeah, definitely worth buying this kit, that is for sure. There's no regrets here. I'm not a big Spitfire fan, to be honest with you. Much prefer the Hurricane. But I'm enjoying this kit. It's really nice. Right. Next job, propeller. That's still on the sprues, so we're going to do that. You'll see here in the background I've got the canopies and everything masked. Which is really good. I need to also look at the undercarriage. So I think that's the next jobs we're going to do whilst this is all drying up. So we'll set this up here to cure. And I will then go and get the necessary parts for the propeller and the undercarriage, and we'll look at those going together. So we'll see you in a moment. Right, we're back with the propeller parts. So we've got D24, D25, and then individual prop blades D8 sandwiched together, and then they go onto the backing plate with D17 on the front, and then obviously the nose cone over that, or the spinner, the prop spinner I suppose it is. So we'll zoom in a little bit, get a bit closer, a bit too close. Sorry, I'm trying to alter the angles. There we go. Right. So D24. So I need just to put a drop of glue in the bottom there. There is a locating pin on the end of the propeller that fits straight down through that hole. There we go. Nice positive fit. Although I'm not convinced about the angle of that blade. It looks a little feathered to me, so it might be worth just gently rolling that blade around a little bit, put a bit of pressure on the pin. That looks a bit better. There we go. That looks more of a suitable angle of attack. So thankfully there's obviously a little bit of play on the pin, giving you the option to set the blade at a more realistic angle. So just glue, hold, when it's in place we're happy. I've lost a blade, there's a blade. Last one. It doesn't need a lot of glue for this plastic to bite. It really does not need a lot of glue, which is good, because it makes it easier for the modeler. Now the main thing to do, so when we're happy with all the blades at home, is line up. There's 2 locating pins, so this piece will, part D25 will only go on one way. This sandwiches it all in, so we get that in, and then we want to leave, just don't press it tight together, leave a little hairline crack, and that'll help the extra thin just wick into the joint. Obviously being careful it doesn't come out the center and go all over your thumb. Not a huge problem for me, because as I said, I'm not having this opened up at all, but you know, this could be an opportunity for a modeler to have the nose cone off and be doing some maintenance to it or replacement work or whatever. Right, time to come back in, and we want to make sure that the angle of attack for all the blades is the same. Otherwise it will look stupid or daft. Right. And I think what also is important is, whilst the blades are still wet, in order to get them in the correct orientation, is we want to actually glue the whole assembly to the back plate. You can do that from the underside, and that will then, because there is the locating scallops, and it'll go 2 ways, so you need to make sure you glue it the proper way and not the way I've just done it. There we go. So make sure that the blades are actually sitting in the center of those here, these pieces here, so it'll help us align the prop blades, which is good. We've got the center boss part to go on. There is no locating parts for that, it just sits within this recess. There we go. And then we've got the nose cone to go on. Now some folk might want to paint this separate and glue it on. Me, I think it is all the same underside neutral grey. We'll just check the instructions. What's this? So we'll look at the paint call out. The underside is 2430. So what are they saying 2430 is? Oh, here we go, it's up here. So 2430 is Sky Type S for the underside, and they're saying the nose cone is 0244. And 0244 is, we're calling that duck egg green. So the nose cone is slightly different color, but it is all one color, and so is the backing plate. So we can actually glue this together, and then we'll be able to paint this and then paint in the blades. So I'm happy to do that. Again, wicking the glue. It's a really nice fit. There we go. Lay it down. Are the blades level against the mat? Any one higher than the other? They're all pretty well even, I would say. Check the angles. Are they all the same? Mark 1 eyeball usually tells you if there's something off. There we go. Let's give it a test fit. Looks like a Spitfire to me. And there we go. There's the prop on the front of the aircraft. That looks like a Spitfire. Nice. Really nice. And it's a good tight fit on the crank. Excellent. Happy with that. Right, next job, undercarriage. And then we can also look, we've got the radiators, we've got the oil cooler to go on, and there's photo etch to go in the wing. And then when we get the undercarriage on, we can actually set the angle on the flaps, because I want mine kind of half deployed just to give it a bit more interest. But we can only really do that when we can get the thing off the ground. So undercarriage next. I'll zoom out. So I'll get the undercarriage all cut off and then we'll come back and have a look at it. Right, welcome back guys. You can see I have all the parts for the landing gear laid out on the instructions. I really like how they've done this in 4 parts. So we've got the 2-part wheel, which I've already painted. Very simple to glue together. And then we've got the 2-part tyre, which again I've already put the first coat of dark grey anthracite on as well. Now these tyres are really rather special in my humble opinion. That's purely because, I don't know if we can see this, but they have got the maker's mark Dunlop on it, and they've also got the tyre size of 7.5 by 10. So tyres, hubs pop into the tyres, and then we just need to make the effort to align the tyre writing so they're virtually opposite each other, and then just press it home. I'm not going to bother putting any glue around here in the centres because I don't want to damage the nice clean edge I've got. I'm just going to glue the centre of the tyre, and then we'll just have to come up, once we finish sanding, we'll just come and touch in and dress up any paint lossage we've got around the circumference of the tyre. Will not be anywhere near the center of the hub, so we won't spoil the beautiful paintwork we've managed to achieve. So that's together rather nicely. There we go. Beautiful clean joint. Right, landing gear. So we've got part C39, which is the main gear. Beautiful slide molded part. Make sure we've got the orientation correct. So we've got F77, so that's the oleo shaft that goes into C39. And then we've got F10, which I'm going to need a pair of tweezers for because it's so small. F10 is a pin, and then that goes from the rear through, so we can put that in place and hold it with our finger and then get the shaft. And F10 should come all the way through there. So that obviously gives us the option of having slight movement in the undercarriage. It is telling us that you want to withdraw the oleo so it's at its longest point, and then we'll glue that up. And that's it. wheel then fits on, and then there is F3, which is this really small part which I wish I hadn't taken off the sprue. That is the lock-in nut that goes on the end there to hold the wheel on. It is sided because it's got bolt head detail on it, so you need to make sure you get it on the right side when you do get it on. It does fit well. There we go. So that's S1. S1 is the left hand side wing. So we can just try that in place and see what like it is. It's actually quite a good fit. Well, it's a bit sloppy actually. Yeah, it's very sloppy. So we're going to have to make sure we do a good job when we glue that up. I did wonder about doing this in flight. How that works, I don't know. We'd have to do a bit of trimming and whatnot. But I reckon that would look pretty good in flight. Anyway, that is the undercarriage. They go together quite well. Obviously, I've not glued the wheel on yet because I want to paint up the oleo leg and chrome the oleo piston. But it looks okay. So, I also have the oil cooler to make, which is really not a huge job, so I'm not going to bother filming that. It all goes together quite well. I have already done, I think I showed that, the underwing radiator. It's all nicely dried up, so it can actually come off, and I can glue that onto the wing. You can see the other wheel part and the two undercarriage doors. I'm calling them doors, they're attached to the oleo legs, so they permanently are in place with the undercarriage, so I'm not sure what the right name is, but anyway, fairings maybe. So that's just been sprayed silver on the inside. I'm going to do a little bit of detailing work on the radiator faces now, but that should just pop in and fit quite nicely, which it does. It might actually be prudent to put this on after we've painted the wing because it's such a good fit. So we can spray all this intermediate grey, put this in, although I think this piece is actually silver, so we might need just to do that, and then there is a few pieces to go in here as well, radiator hoses and whatnot, so we'll deal with them too, but that's a really nice fit. So a few bits and pieces to make. So I'm going to go, we'll get the other undercarriage leg done, we'll get the oil cooler done, and then we'll come back and we'll actually, the next thing we'll look at is the photo etch that I need to put in the wheel wells here, these pieces here. We've also got the air intake, engine air intake to put on too. So I'm not going to be putting the bomb on, so these two holes here I'm actually going to fill because I'm not really wanting that bulk of the bomb underneath. I'll try and keep the clean lines of the Spitfire. So we've got a little bit to do, but yeah, I'm waffling now. Right, let me get all these little bits done, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the photo etch work. So we'll see you shortly. Alright chaps, we're back. So moving on from where we left off last video, we can see there's been a bit of progress in that I've got done a bit of priming work. We've obviously got the gear bay doors, the landing gear is dry fitted together. Take it apart for painting, so we've got both landing gears painted up. I've got the prop made, I have taken the time to mask all the canopy parts. More about that later on. I've made the bomb, although I'm not going to use it. I want a clean looking aircraft. Prime the cockpit door. Now, looking at the aircraft itself, so it's fully together now. It's all dried off nicely. I think you can see on the wings that there is minimal filler. Literally was just a little layer of Mr. Surfacer 500 and then wiped down with a Q-tip or cotton bud soaked in cellulose thinners, and the same on the underside. I did a little bit of damage when I was clearing off the sprue marks, so there's a little bit of Mr. Surfacer down the center seam, and then I've been doing some just marginal rescribing and re-riveting work, which I were using my Galaxy Tools riveting wheels. So I've got two sets. I've got the 0.55 through to 0.75 wheels, and I've got for the larger scale aircraft at 1 mil to 1.5 mil spacing riveting wheels, and these are absolutely brilliant products. And I think I've said this before, but I don't mind repraising my review of them. Each box comes with its own applicator handle, nicely turned aluminium with brass inserts. Very, very good quality, very, very reasonable pricing as well, I have to say. If you compare to what you're paying for a Rosie the Riveter, these particular re-riveting products are absolutely second to none, and I highly recommend them. So you can find them on most good retailers, eBay, I think they're on Amazon, and you can find them on other marketplaces as well. So I highly recommend them. They've done a fantastic job matching in with the existing rivet patterns and the rivet spacings, so it was no problem reintroducing the rivets that were sanded down or dulled down when I polished up all the seam lines. So we've got the air scoop in, oil cooler, radiator. That's all in. The interior of the radiator has been partially painted, but I do need to blow in a little bit of paint in there. And the next step to working on this aircraft is the photo etch for the wheel wells, because there's absolutely no detail whatsoever on the wheel well walls. And if we look at the photo etch parts, then we have parts here for the wheel well walls. You'll also notice all these parts here that are the Zeus fastening connection points that go on the framing if you want to display the engine open. I haven't used them purely because I was never going to use them, but they'll come in handy for something, I would think. Another thing that I wanted to mention was the landing lights. So that's part E34, and I think it is part, possibly it's just E34. There's a pair of them anyway. There's one there, E34, F9 and G2. So if you look on the kit instructions, it looks like it's got a solid front. Well, yeah, lo and behold, it does. Absolutely pointless putting in landing lights if you can't see the landing lights. Now, I don't know, I'm no expert on the Spitfire, and I don't know if there was a glass front on these or not. Not just too worried, but what I did do was cut the pointy stick. I cut the front off the lights so you can see the, if that'll focus, and there you go. So you can actually see the light detail in there. So we'll paint up the underside, we'll do a little bit of detail painting in here, pop the lens in, and then we've got the landing lights down. The other option is they were a reasonably good fit. I could have just glued them into the wing and then just not had them deployed, but I fancied it was something different, so I wanted to put them down. So there we go. That's where we're at the moment. And I said we're on to doing the photo etch, which some people will like, some people will loathe, but it's not just too deadly, and hopefully I can show you with a bit of care it'll go together reasonably well. So give me 2 minutes. What I'm going to do is we'll tackle left hand side or right hand side wheel well first. So I'll cut off the parts we're needing, and then we'll look at how we're going to roll this flat part to get it to form the circle to match the profile of the wheel well. So back in a minute.